Hey, what's going on, everybody? The big question is, when is Bitcoin going to top out, or is it already topping out as we speak? I'm going to talk about a clue that I have here, and it reminds me a lot of what happened here. And I'm going to zoom in all the way right there to figure out if this flat is occurring right here. So, as you remember, some of you remember back up here, I talked about the possibility of this being in some type of flat. And the reason why I sort of figured that out is because look how choppy this is in here. See how choppy that is? So for example, we break the high right here. We break this high, but we don't break it like that. We chop up, chop down, up, and then we finally break it. But when we break it, right, we're chopping to break it. So that tells me that this boom, 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 boom is corrective versus something like this where it's impulsive. So the fact that it was corrective tells me it's probably a trap. In other words, a B wave. So usually wave Bs are trap. So if this is a wave A and this is a wave C, so A, B, C, and it was a flat. And it actually, I was thinking the C wave can land on the bull market support band. It did not. It came short, but nonetheless, it was a three-wave correction, and we started our ascent, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. So the big question becomes, what is happening in this fifth wave? So let's zoom in here and look at the current time frame. Actually, let me go to the 15-minute chart. Now, what do you see here? Aren't you starting to see something a little more resemblance of what we had before? So check it out. So here's your top, same thing, right? And then you go chop, 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 chop. Look at that. We broke out. Yay, we're going up. But no, 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 right? And then here's another thing. You see how this right here, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, right? So anytime you get that, that's a strong signal that a reversal is coming. Now remember, this is the 20-minute chart. This is the small time frame. I'm not talking on the macro granddaddy. I'm talking the short time frame, right? So we reached all the way up to approximately 57,600 on the Bitstamp chart. So look at this. Doesn't that look an awful lot like what happened before? I'm not saying it is. This is not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong. But at the end of the day, it looks like an A, B, and a C, right? It looks like this is what is happening. So just let me zoom out again and show you here. That's a little bit too far there. So right here, we have the A, B, and C, right? And you can see how, what I want you to focus on is number one, the high. Number two, the chop. Chop, 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 boom. And then the breakout, right? So focus on the top and the chop and the breakout, which is probably a false breakout. Now let's go back to the 20-minute chart and look at this. It looks exactly like the same thing, right? So you have the top right here, and then you have the chop, 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 chop. You have the breakout. So what comes next? You probably are coming down, right? So if we're coming down, then what does that mean? Does that mean this is an A, B, C, and we're going to go to the upside? Or is this the top of Bitcoin right here? We don't know. I have no idea. But what I can tell you is this right here. So if I zoom out, and we talked about this yesterday. So let me actually take everything off the screen, come back down here. We have a 1, And this is where the interesting part is. Is this a 1, 2, 1, 2? If it is, then that could be interesting there. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. Maybe 5 finishes up here. Maybe 5's already done, right? So in order to look at wave 5, we have to have 5 waves in wave 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5, right? Okay, so now we're going to zoom in on that fifth of the fifth here, and let's go to the 45-minute chart. So this is interesting. So check this out. Let me take that off. So this wave right here is the fifth wave, right? So how many waves is in that wave? Well, to me, it looks like we only have 3. So check this out. So we have 1, 2. Now this is 3. And guess what? The fourth wave is. It's probably a flat. Why? Because it looks exactly like the other fourth wave we had. Just because it's smaller on a time frame doesn't mean anything, right? Because candlestick patterns and different types of sequences are all just Fibonacci sequences, right? So this is wave 3. Now we have an A, B, C, and wave 4, and then boom, we get wave 5. So if I had to go out on a limb here, then this is my sort of grand thesis for the small time frame. Actually, let me zoom way in here on the 15-minute. Okay, so just to put it into some context here, right? This is the fifth wave. So let me highlight this right here, right? And now we're in wave 4, okay? And then let me zoom out a little bit further. And that fifth wave is part of this 1, 2, 3, 4, that fifth wave. And that fifth wave is part of this fifth wave, right? Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, and that fifth wave is part of potentially, hopefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as of now, it's being treated like a 1, 2, 3. So if this is the fifth wave and we're going to get a fourth wave on this time frame, then we come down and then we go up for another fifth wave. Or if it's going to be an ABC, then it's probably done. So now let me zoom in again to the daily chart and just to see where we are here, right? So now I'm going to zoom in on that circle there, right? So let me zoom in on this. Now here's the circle. I'll zoom in even further. So that way you kind of get the context of how big and small. And that's the thing that a lot of people misconceive, not just, with me, but mostly throughout YouTube, right? Is when people are talking about a specific area. For example, if I'm bullish in this wave, that doesn't mean I'm bullish necessarily on the others, right? So it's all about what time frame and what area of the chart you're looking at, because you can zoom all the way in or you can zoom all the way out. So that it's all about different time frames. So here we go. So here's what we're looking at here. And this looks like to me some type of fourth wave. So what does that mean? That means that we're probably working on an A. This is B up here or up here. And now we're working on C, right? So does that mean it has to happen? No, of course not. This could be totally wrong. This might not even be a flat. This could be this could be a completed flat, right? So, for example, this could be like this, A, B, and then this is C right here. It's kind of small, right? Boom, boom, boom. and we have that little wick, and now we're going 1 2 1 2, right? And now we're about to continue higher. But I don't know about that. I'm not too sure. If I had to guess, I would think that we're coming down. Now, this fourth wave, now you can do it like this. Now, you can count it like this, in which case this is a 1 2, this is 3 4, and that's 5. And now we're done. Now we're coming down, right? But to me, it looks like a B C. It looks like a flat going on here, just like how we identified the same exact thing back over here, right? When we were up here, a lot of people were expecting to go higher, but I was saying, no, I think we need to come and test the bull market support band. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But since we had this chop, and that chop broke us out, it told me it was a corrective breakout, which usually means it's a fake out, which means we're probably going down, which then means it's probably an A, B, C, a flat, right? So here's what I have to say right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, and the fourth is A, B, C, 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 5. So if I zoom all the way in, it looks exactly like what that is happening here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, flat, which is wave 4, and now we're getting 5. So maybe sometime later on in the week, and that would actually be good because you want the price to pump higher towards the end of the week, not the beginning of the week. If you have a big breakout on Monday, it spells like sometimes a liquidity trap, things like that. But for me, I would like to see it happen towards the end of the week. Now, this looks like, let's even go even further to the 3-minute chart here. Yeah, so on the 3-minute, you can really start to see what I was talking about here. So you have this move down, and then it's all overlapping. See how this wave is overlapping with this wave. This wave is overlapping. Then you break out. So all that overlap told me that when we broke this high, probably wasn't the real thing, right? So you could say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, WXY, right? But that doesn't really make sense because of the way it looks, because now you're starting to have this other three-way move here. So, it could turn into, maybe, if it wants to continue higher, some type of, little shoulder. There's your head, there's your shoulder, but it doesn't look good. It looks like you have another flat here. So for example, you have this A, B, and now you're coming down for C again. So it looks like another. So you see this top here? Look how you broke out here, but then you got quickly rejected. So you came back up, you chopped up, you broke out, but it was a chop breakout. Anytime you have, like I said, a choppy breakout, it's usually a sloppy fake out, right? A choppy breakout is a sloppy fake out. So, that's why we got to tiptoe around this market here. The more we tiptoe around it, the better off we are. And I actually been thinking about changing my name for my channel. I don't know. I like Crypto Brandon. That's me. But I kind of like the sound of Tiptoe Crypto. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Is that lame? Is that kind of cool? Is that I just, because that's what I've been doing for the longest time. I'm tiptoeing around this market, and tiptoe crypto rhymes, and it's got a nice ring to it. So maybe that might help emphasize my channel a little bit more, because there's a lot of people out there that are called Crypto this, Crypto Mike, Crypto Doug, Crypto Zach, Crypto, I don't want to be another crypto, with my name after it, but I like it, so I'm gonna stick with it. But probably considering changing my name to Tiptoe Crypto, just because I like to tiptoe around the market, and also it rhymes and it sounds kind of cool. So I don't know. We'll see. Tell me what you think, if that's cool or not. So as of now, on the short time frame, I'm thinking A, B, C, and then we have one more wave to the upside. If not, then this was the fourth, and this was the fifth, and this was A, this was B, and now we're going down for C. So it really depends what's going to happen here. And yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. So zooming out a little bit, let's go to the 4-hour chart. I'm sure all the oscillators are totally overbought. Everything's overheated. And that's another thing. The oscillators need to cool down. You can see, oh, well, look at that. We're on a 4-hour 9. So you have a beautiful perfected 9, a perfect 9 here, right? So we still have about 3 hours to go on this candle. So you can get a little pop, right? Let's go to the daily chart. So the daily chart is very bullish. Why? Because we had a 9 here. And look at the 9. It called the red dots perfectly, right? Or it called the resistance perfectly. It came down, we broke out, and then we have a green 2 going above a green 1, breaking above the 9, which is also very bullish. And all of this started back over here with the 9 buy. And a lot of people are asking, how do I get this indicator? So for me, so look at the bottom down here, right here. Type in trend reversal predictor. If you want this indicator, it's different than mine, but if you want it, just type in trend reversal predictor. It actually is more, it has more features than mine, right? It has more features than what I have. So let me get rid of this one here. And by the way, I don't have the fancy trading view. I just pay for the sort of the baseline level, right? So I'll click this one here, trend reversal predictor. Let me get rid of that. And this is what it looks like right here. So you can see it's a little different, but it's sort of the same thing. You can see the numbers on the top is the 9s, right? But then the numbers on the bottom are actually different because they're giving you a sequential 13, right? So if you don't know what a 13 is, it's just basically a stronger 9 signal, but it usually, sometimes it doesn't work out. So that's why I use it with Elliott Wave. I use it with other things. But, you just click this here. It's TRP, go to settings, and you can change all of this stuff. If you don't want the numbers on the bottom, if you don't want all these dots in here, because look how insane it is, right? It's got a lot of information. For me, I don't need all that information. I like it simplified so you can take and get rid of all this stuff. So there you go. Just type in trend reversal predictor. The reason why you don't have TD sequential anymore is because TradingView took it off the search because TD stands for Tom DeMark. And Tom DeMark is a trademark name for that indicator. So people are changing the name of it. For example, this name here, which is trend reversal predictor, right? So it's the same thing. So that's what that looks like. I might even just keep it on. Actually, no, I'm going to take it off because it might be a little cluttered. I'm just going to use mine for now because it's more clean. But you can make that other one also clean. You just have to fidget around with it. But yeah, people were wondering, how come I, can't get access to it? Well, now you know. So go to TradingView, type in trend reversal predictor on the indicator section and see if you can find it there. So there we go. That's basically what I have for you guys today for Bitcoin. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the bull market support band. Eventually, this thing is going to meet up with it. The big question I have. So here's the big thing. If we want Bitcoin to break out into a new all-time high, what do we need to happen? right? Because I know we're going to get a pullback. It's coming, right? Maybe it doesn't come now. Maybe it doesn't come tomorrow. Maybe we break out first and then get a pullback, right? But eventually we will. So the big thing is when we pull back, that's why I was hoping we tested it here. People say, when we were at, what was the price? 39K, 39.5. I wanted it to come down to 36.3. So that was another 8%. I wanted it to go down, right? So that it can test the bull market support band. And some probably didn't like that. But now you can see, now fast forward today, now you know why I wanted it there. Because now we tested it, or we didn't test it. Now, I mean, look how long we haven't tested it, going back to October of last year. So that's why I was hoping we can test it now, get it out of the way. But now it looks like it's getting a little overextended. So eventually it's got to come back and test it. Now, here's the thing. If we can hold above it, right? If we can hold above this band in here and test and bounce around and continue to break out, great. Then that's going to give a very strong signal that we are potentially going to continue marching it to the upside, right? And you can see, look at the 9 here on this 5-day chart, the 9 called the exact top on this 5-day chart, right? That's pretty cool. Not that everybody follows the 5-day chart, but let's go to the weekly chart and see here. So we didn't get any 9s on the weekly. It's kind of hard to get on the higher time frames simply because it requires more time, more candles to get there. But you can see we've had 1 9 and we had another 9 here. So, and then the cool part is we're approaching, we're literally back at the top of Bitcoin right here. So this is challenging all-time highs in here. This is serious stuff right here. Now, I think we have a good possibility of breaking out, but before we break out, the conservative in me, now I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, then I'd be pleasantly surprised. But if we continue marching higher, great, it's going to be perfect for alts. But if we pull back, and let's say we back test, actually let me get rid of this, and I'll put the line here, right there. So if we come up here, so this was our little range in here, right? And you might say, well, maybe that qualifies as a range, like these ranges down in here. And I guess you can say that, but it looks a little small. And if that's going to be the case, maybe that's all the range we get. We come up and then we back test it. We back test 45K, right? That 45K area. Then we can get another bounce to the upside, right? And then to me, that would become probably a 1, 2. All of this is 3, 4, and 5. Because in wave 3, you want 5 waves. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5's not finished yet, right? But you also want wave 5 to be, or wave 3 to be pretty long, a lot longer than wave 1, right? So if I pull the Fibonacci on that, let's see, trend-based fib extension, I'm going to put this here. I'm going to go all the way up to wave 1, come all the way down in wave 2. So usually for a wave 3, you want to see it hit around this area right here. So between 66 and 76K for a third wave. If it's going to be a third wave, it could just be, an A, B, C. But if it's going to turn into a third wave, you sort of want it to continue a little bit higher and get up here. So that would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. we're at wave 5, right? So that would be 1, 2, 3. Instead of an ABC, now it looks more like a 1, 2, 3. Then we pull back, and this is where it gets a little tricky, because then this pullback can turn into what I would call reaccumulation, and then we continue higher for that final 5th wave of the new bull run. And then the bull run's over, and people go, wait a minute, the bull run just started. No, it hasn't. It's been going on for over a year, right? It started here, and now it's going all the way up. We broke out on wave 3, but then we pulled back, and then we went into wave 5, and then it seems like, wait a minute, it's just barely starting, and actually it's been going a long time. So that could be, so this right here is sort of my ultimate bullish idea for Bitcoin as we speak now, which is finishing up this 3rd wave. So I know I said we're in the 5th of the 5th, but if you look at it from this perspective, then we're actually only in 1, 2, we're actually in the 3rd, right? So remember, there's different waves for different time frames. There's sub waves, and there's the bigger waves, right? So then what that means is, if that's the case, then what we have here is a wave 1, wave 2, all of this is wave 3. This is an A, B, C, like a flat. And then this is a wave 5. And you can see the flat in here. That's why this was another flat. You can see here, look at this. See how we have the top here? But look at, we chop, chop. We come up here, we chop again. We come up here, chop, chop, chop. And it was a fake out, right? So then we came back down. So, and we had 5 waves to the downside, which basically means this was an A, B, and a C. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave C. So boom, perfect. So that was a wave 4. And look at where the flat comes in at. It comes in at a wave 4, just like how it came in right over here. We have an A, B, C in wave 4. So it's kind of interesting how it all works. So when you use it together with TD sequential, it starts to paint a cool picture for us. So maybe we have another push up. So here's the thing. If we break out of here, we're probably going to have a big correction. We're going to get into that ocean of liquidity, because a lot of people don't believe it, including myself. I would have never thought, 3 weeks ago that this was possible. But as the price convinces me otherwise, I have to rule out what it isn't, right? So what it could be is we break out of this line right here and this line right here. We break out just ever so slightly. Actually, let me turn it to regular so you can get more of the detail here. Okay, so we break out a little bit, and this is the bull count, if this is what it's going to be. So let me just draw that here. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably 5 is somewhere up there. Maybe we get an extended 5th. I don't know. So that would be awesome. And in all of this, what this does is it buys us more time, right? So if the altcoins are going to be bullish, which I think they are, at least going into a retracement, because this is what it's all about. It's not about Bitcoin. It's about the altcoins. I talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is sort of the roadmap to how the altcoins will perform. So if we get up here, maybe we range a little bit, then the altcoins catch up. If we're going to, now remember, this is the weekly chart. So the time frame is different. For example, if I zoom in to the, say the 2-day chart, that doesn't mean we go up in a straight line. We could probably pull back here and play around and go sideways for maybe 2 weeks before then getting up here, if that's the count. And during that sideways chop, that's when the alts catch up, right? So charts getting cluttered, take it all off. So when we see the price of Bitcoin for what it is, there's really two ways that can happen. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Simple. That would be the ultimate thing that could happen for us. But that doesn't mean, like I said, it doesn't happen immediately. We could, like I said, we can chop around in here, just like we chopped around in here, just like we chop around in here. We can chop around for a bit. And I would expect that because look how impulsive this is. You know, if I turn on the oscillators, and let's go to the weekly chart on the oscillator, you know, we're still pretty good. You know, we're not totally oversold, but we're getting pretty up there. Now, if you look at where we were oversold before, it was right here. But that was only when Bitcoin was at 30K. And then it went on to go all the way to 60K, right? So, the RSI could be a little deceiving, right? So that's why I don't really use it too much, except for looking for divergences. So like I said, one idea is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other idea is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is an A, B, and maybe the A, B comes up here, right? And then we get C, and then we go flat, and then we go. So like a flat, right? So like some type of, I don't even think I've talked about this yet. And that is a possibility, huh? I didn't really think about that. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we come down A, B, and then B, let's say B takes us out and we break this top. And then it turns into an A, B, and then a C, like a big flat. And then we go sideways, and then we continue breaking out, right? So like an irregular flat, or if it really wants to kill us, an expanded flat. So that's one idea there. Anything can happen. But sort of my main conclusion here would be the other idea, which is a rise, crash, retrace. So we're in the retracement level. We bounce around, then we start heading down, and we start, reaccumulating, and then we go. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout, right? And that's sort of like a cup and a handle. So if you have a big cup, expect some type of handle. Now, if you don't get that handle and you break out, then great. But just be cautious that this could be a flat, right? So a couple different ideas there for the overall price of Bitcoin. So now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about, here's CoinMarketCap. Which coin shall we talk about? There's a lot of coins in here. ICP, I haven't seen that one. IMX, STX, I don't know those. A lot of different coins to choose from. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do a rapid fire look. Type in the comment section and I'll do a rapid fire sequence on here. And I think people did comment. I just haven't read the comments yet. So if you did comment your coin, and I probably haven't seen it yet. So Theta is top 50. That's good. Flare. I'll probably stay with the top 60 here. So let's look at AVAX. But before I look at AVAX, I just wanted to point out right here, XRP is attempting to get back above its bull market support band right here. It's finding a little bit of trouble, but I think it can get it done. So if I put this line here, you can see that we broke above the downward resistance line, which is good. If I wanted to put the line here, and come down here. We also broke above it, which is good. So XRP is looking pretty strong right now. Not nearly compared as the other coins, but remember, XRP likes to toy and play around, and then other coins pop off, and everybody's looking over there, right? You have this coin, this coin, this coin, boom, 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 boom. All of them are popping off. Look what XRP, it's doing nothing. What happens? It takes your attention, it takes your eyeballs away from the chart of XRP, and while everybody's asleep, boom, XRP melts everybody's face, right? So that's why I always look at XRP no matter what. And my whole thing would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, maybe a little flat in here. We continue on. Worst case scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. We come down further here, right, in the 40 cent area. Then we go. So either way, I'm really liking what XRP is doing currently. Yeah, could it be better? Of course, it could be a lot better. Now, real quick here, when you look at the range of theta, right, and I draw a range, you could see the price of theta is breaking out, right? And that's sort of the breaking news today, right? Theta got to what? $2.30. Beautiful. A beautiful breakout for the price of theta. And we actually came up and we tagged these two lines right there. So you can see line 1 and line 2. And look at that. We hit it right on the money. And that's exactly what I've been talking about, is a accumulation and a breakout into a retracement. And it's beautiful to see that it actually happens. And this is sort of the building block, the stepping stone to validate my channel, because a crypto technical analyst has to prove themselves to be worthy for a subscription, to be worthy for a viewership, right? And I've been planting the seed since back in October, right? So somewhere along here when Theta was about 64 cents. So fast forward, we are now at about 125 days of me sticking with the same story of a retracement. So hopefully that earned your subscription. If you haven't already, I really would like if you guys can hit that subscribe button. I think I deserved it. Obviously, we're not totally in the retracement levels, but come on, that was a beautiful breakout. And it was been talked about since here. I don't like, trying to be braggadocious, but at the same time, I'm competing for views, right, with other big channels. And a lot of times those big channels are totally way off with these crazy hypey thumbnails and things that never play out. But I think my timeline has been consistent, and my targets have been consistent, and I don't get people all worked up on one day or anything. So like I've always say, it takes time to get there, but eventually we will get there. And it's not always the way if you expect it to go somewhere, it's not always how you expect it to get there, right? So, but in this case, it was actually a beautiful way to get there. So now, what for Theta now? We'll get to AVAX, but if you look here, we have this line which meets up right there, right? So I would guess the next area would be 264 up to 358. So actually, let me take all that off. I don't like a cluttered chart. So yeah, about $3.51. But remember what I talked about with Theta. It's not going to happen instantly, right? It's not going to happen instantly. So the fact that we broke out on the daily chart. So look at this, breaking news. We have a daily candle that has broken above this top over here, which I'll actually put below here because we want it on the close. So $1.66. Look at that. We have a beautiful breakout, and now we have follow through. Yes, we did get a big rejection wick, but that's to be expected. People are taking profits. That's fine. That's normal. So now what are we looking for the price of Theta? Well, since it broke out, we can see something like this and then go. And what does that remind you of? This right here, which I've been talking about for as long as the channel's been here, which is pretty much waiting for that green circle, right? So, like I said, a couple different ways it can go down, right? Obviously, was looking at this as Wyckoff accumulation, 1, 2, 1, spring, blast off. 1, 2, 1, spring, blast off, right? So, we're right at this green circle. Let's say we break out, right? And then we go boom, 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 boom. And then we continue higher, just like how it did right here, right? And that's just an example. Now, this area could potentially be this area in here, right? But I don't really like it too much because it didn't take out this high and really not even that high. So let's be more conservative and say now we're probably going to consolidate for the next couple weeks. You got to give Theta a chance to breathe, right? I mean, look what she did. And this was going back to the bull market support band right here. I mean, look at this. Back when we were over here, I was so adamant in saying this is very possible. Now, obviously, the way we got there could have been different. It could have been an ABC, then we get there. It could have been a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, then we get there. Or it could have just been a 1-2 in a straight line up, which is what we got, which is, hey, I will take it. But either way, like I say, it doesn't matter. The point is we're going to get there, right? If you are going to Las Vegas, right, and let's say you live in New York and you're driving there, there's a couple different ways you can go, right? There's a fast way, there's a scenic way, there's a long traffic way, right? I'm speculating. So it's the same thing with charts. But regardless of which direction you go, the destination is the same. And my channel is not necessarily talking about being adamant on the route. It's about being adamant on the destination. And I think I did a pretty good job on that. So we have also inverse head and shoulders. We have Wyckoff accumulation. So now take all that off the screen, put it in layman terms. We have this line here and we have this line here, right? Which means you have this move up right here, move down, move up. So either we can do something like this right here where we chop around a little bit and then we go higher. But knowing Theta, it's probably going to be a lot faster than that, right? It could probably be a lot faster than that. So something like that. Now, I said yesterday that this can turn into, if we want it to be really, really bullish, then we want it to be like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, then we go. If we want it to just hurry up, then we want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So either way, it's looking good. If I turn we are oversold, or I'm sorry, overbought. Let's go to the weekly. We are just approached that overbought territory, but it's fine. It still has plenty of room to gallop. The main thing is, for the weekly chart, we have 5 days left. So here's the big thing for Theta. This is what I'll say. By Sunday, we want to close above $1.66. Yeah, $1.66. So by Sunday evening, if we are above $1.66, if we got a weekly close, because remember, we got the weekly close breakout from this, right? Which to me is really important because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 versus just 1. So there's not that much resistance here, right? So this candle right here, which was last week's candle, we got confirmation of that weekly breakout, of that weekly close. This candle is now breaking above the final resistance point. But here's the thing. Is it going to close above? If it closes above, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Then we would go back to that Wyckoff accumulation. Remember the green circle where we kind of play around a little bit? So we would do something like this, play around a little bit like this, and then continue higher, which is fine. So, but for me, we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 1. Let's come back down, right? And back test. And if number 1, we would get the back test, which is confirmation. And we don't have to come back down to back test at a higher price. We get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off. So we get the back test, number 1. Number 2, we get a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Which gives us a big 3, a 4, and a 5, and another 4, 5, which basically means we have more potential, more percentage potential up to the upside. So yeah, let's see what happens. So yeah, so we'll back test maybe and then continue higher. If not, then let's just chill out here, consolidate a bit, continue higher. If not, then just continue higher. Either way, like I said, the route doesn't necessarily matter. The destination matters. And for me, the destination is right here. If I pull this Fibonacci up here, I mean, we are nowhere even close to the 382. The very bare minimum is $6.34, which from where we are now is still another 200 and what? 30% away, right? So I'm thinking between 8 and 12 bucks is a good area. So if it falls short, that's okay. We still made a ton of money. Because if you were accumulating in here and we get back up here, that's still a good amount of money, you got there. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it went from 56 cents all the way to $1.94. Actually, even higher than that, up to $2.30. I mean, if you look at XRP, it's at 56 cents now, or actually 57. So can you imagine this thing getting up to $2? It's, that would mean Theta XRP would have to get all the way up to there just to match what Theta's already done. Shoot, if I would have known that, I would have swapped way more XRP for Theta. But I mean, for me, it's a long-term hold. I'm not in a rush. I would like it to occur, but for me, I'm looking at this as a big W, or a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout, or at the very least, coming back up to the 618 or the 702 to retrace this bear market, because this right here was a 618 retrace, but it never hit the 618. So if we can come back up here and officially tag it, or better yet, the 702, then hey, that's fine with me. Then it would look like a cup and handle. You put this line here up to about there, and then you put that about, we'll say around about there. Not perfect, but that's actually very high. I wouldn't even expect it to go that high, but that's about 20 bucks or 19 bucks. Let's be more conservative and redo that, and we'll say that this right here, okay, and then we'll say we'll start it from here and come up to there, and then we'll put it up here. And remember, this is log scale too, so about 16, 17 bucks. So is it gonna happen? I don't know. Probably not. Probably be more like 10 bucks. But hey, it's better to be pleasantly surprised than be utterly disappointed. So we got Theta, we got XRP. Just real quick with XRP, I just really want to see it get back above the bull market support band. So total 3, we are continuing to march up higher and higher and higher, which is good. We want, which kind of isn't good because it's, we kind of we want our altcoins to run before total 3 tops out. In other words, Theta Fuel. Still waiting for that breakout for Theta Fuel. But I think it's coming. If Theta did it, Theta Fuel can totally do it too. Especially because look how beautiful it looks. It looks like a better Wyckoff. You have this better looking Wyckoff here, right? So to me, come back up here, play around, then continue higher like this and get back up into the retracement levels. So it'll be a 1, 2, and a 3, or an A, B, C, right? So we have a 1, 2. Now we're in that third wave. We get 4, 5. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, right? So if it turns into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then that's even better. So, Theta Fuel's definitely got some room to go. So looking at AVAX, obviously AVAX had a big breakout, right? And it broke out of its range. So if AVAX broke out of its range, then so can Theta, which it already did, and so can others too, right? So what did AVAX do? So this is an important lesson right here for Theta. If AVAX did this, right, and it came here and it broke out, what did it do? It came up a little bit higher, then it back tested, right? So if you go back to Theta, right, Theta USD, and say, okay, if that's the case, then that means that's what she can do as well, which is maybe we get a little bit higher, then we come down and back test, then play around, then continue higher, right? So something like that. So we'll see how that works. But as far as AVAX where it is now, if I pull the retracement, and I was stupid for selling this one too early, but I was sort of rotating around a little bit. Yeah, it still has a lot more to go for I would say between 60 and at least, let's talk about 60 and 80 first, and then we'll reevaluate. So for SHIB is actually looking interesting, very interesting, because of its sort of, its Wyckoff accumulation. So what I'm looking for, like if you look at AVAX, I'm not buying AVAX. Why? Because it already broke out of its range. I'm not buying Theta. Why? Because it already broke out of its range, right? But if you look at SHIB still has to come all the way up here to break out of its range. Which means what? Which means it has more percentage potential. So that's why people, what they do when prices break out is they rotate into coins that haven't yet broken out yet, right? Like XRP being one of them. So if you look at SHIB, it still has, from where it is now, just to get to the resistance is still another almost 60%. If we wanted to break out, that's another 70, 75% for SHIB. And it's looking good too because of this. You have this Wyckoff, boom, boom, boom. And then you have the spring, you have the liquidity. And then it looks really good because you have a 1, 2. And now you have another 1, 2. And now you're starting to go up. So this thing can really start to tear. And I think Pepe went up pretty big. So why not SHIB? What do you guys think about Benjamin Cohen and Gareth Soloway? I think they're very respected guys. They're very good traders. But what do you guys think about the Bitcoin dominance that he likes to portray? And just wondering what you think. For me, I think, yeah, he's right in Bitcoin dominance. is going up, but there's going to be a time and place where that's no longer the case. And I think that's happening now. I mean, he's still primarily in Bitcoin, but I think he's making a big mistake. And I'll do a video on that, talking about their thesis and why I think it's a little off. So when you look at Theta BTC, it actually looks good. It actually looks very bullish. You have this big base up here. You have a breakout. And then you have this beautiful organic correction. And now you established this base in here. And this base is being broken out of, right? You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 waves to the downside. You have a base on the 5th wave. And you have a breakout of this base. Someone said, look at Theta BTC. It looks bearish. No, it doesn't. It looks bullish. It looks bullish. Very bullish. You could say, oh, this doesn't look good. But no, this is a descending channel. Descending channels break down, right? So if I put it like this, I mean, look at that. We broke out, we back tested, and now we're continuing higher. Not only that, we're also breaking above this range in here, right? Which is what? Which was a flat. Here's another flat pattern. So here's the top. You have an A, B. You broke the top. You came back down. A, B, C, a flat. And now we're shooting to the upside. And we took out all of this right here. There's your base. You break out. Now we might back test, pull back a little bit. No problem. Then continue higher. I can already tell this video is going to go over an hour. So too bad. So H bar. Oh, this is H bar market cap. I was like, well, that looks definitely different. Actually doesn't actually look that good to me, because it looks like a diag. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, like sort of like a rising wedge, which tells me something like this, right? So it doesn't look too good there. Stock market, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say with this. It looks terribly overbought. I mean, you're on a weekly 9, for goodness sake. This thing looks like it's cooked, but I've said that before, and it keeps going higher. So I don't know why anyone would want to get in the stock market. Okay, so this is the chart that Benjamin Cohen loves to show. I think it is total 3 minus USD divided by. No, this is not it. Is this it? No, this isn't it. This is it right here. So this is the chart. And, you know, he's thinking alts are going to go down. And you might be right. But to me, it looks like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. Looks like we're going sideways now. So I think we're going to develop a base on top of this base and then continue higher. Now, that doesn't mean we can't go down a little further, but we'll see. So let's keep going. Filecoin. Same thing with Filecoin. It has not broken out, similar to like SHIB. It still has a little way to go, right? But I think it'll get there. H bar regular price. H bar regular price looks actually good. We have a beautiful base. We broke out of the base, and we'll see what happens. Total 3. Already talked about that. Link. Wouldn't want to touch this because look how far away we are from the base. There's a lot of coins that are down here. I'd rather buy those, right? If I'm holding Link, I would probably rotate to coins that are down in the base. Not financial advice, because maybe some of those coins don't make it out, right? You just don't know. So we'll see. XLM. Wow, XLM looks bullish. Look at that. I haven't looked at XLM in a long time. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, here's XLM's base. It has not yet broken out. But look how nice and beautiful it looks. You have this 1, 2, 1. Was that a 1, 2? Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? Another 1, 2. and then another 1, 2, right? And then you can see we have a 9, and we're sort of building a base here. And this is, to me, what the XRP chart should look like. Similar. Yeah, so looks like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. Let's go. Finding support on the green dots. Basically, you're building this base in here, right? You're building that base on top of this base, right? And then you also have this base here, which is what? Which is like an inverse head and shoulders. So it's looking very nice. ETH, ETH is bullish. That doesn't mean it's going to keep going up. I mean, it looks like it's soon about to pop. I would say my target for ETH would be 35.61 and probably a little higher. So maybe a little bit, maybe to about 36.74 would probably be my target for ETH if I was holding it. Because it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a diagonal, which would require an ABC, then a breakout. Matic. You could see a flat here. It looked like a flat A, B, C, right? See how we chopped to the upside? We took out the top, but look what happened. We came back down, right? So now that was a flat. So then we have a 1, 2, right? Or I'm sorry, a 1, 2. But it's not a 1, 2 because it's 3 waves. So it looks to me like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, go. So in other words, a rise, crash, retrace, and now we're in reaccumulation. So we're going sideways in here, which is good. So we're probably, Matic's kind of tough to read, but I would say as long as we can stay in this range, it's pretty big range. So as long as we can stay in this range, I think we're good for a continuation. Because to me, it looks like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways. So we're waiting for that breakout. So that breakout, also, you have a breakout, right? You have a back test of the bull market support band and a continuation. So let's go. Okay, I think someone said ILV, alluvium. I'm not sure how to say that. There's not a lot of data here for me to go on this one, but if I had to think, you just put a line like that, right? So it looks pretty bullish. It looks like it's heading into a retracement. So I want to see it break out of this range here. So we're right at the resistance. So someone asked for this chart. I think it's pretty bullish. It has a Wyckoff type of structure, not too much here, but a Wyckoff. We have a base here. We have a break of the bull market support band. We back tested it and on the green dots, and now we're starting to pump to the upside. So maybe a little consolidation, then a breakout, right? You also have, if I draw it like this, an inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder, breakout. The measured move of that would be approximately $493. So I guess my I would probably look for this. If we could break this range, there's no resistance. It's all butter. See, it's a straight line until we get to here. So this would probably be your area. And look at coincidentally that lined up exactly. So that would be, this would be the target area right in here. So yeah, looks good. Bearish idea. We come down for an ABC. So we come up, A, B, C, and then go. So it could be an ABC, then go, or we can just continue. But either way, it looks like it wants to go up. So looking at Theta on the 1 hour, yes, it did break out and it hit $2.35. That's great. But, you know, it looks like it needs a little bit of cool off time. We have this 1, 2, right? And this could be 3, and now we're getting 4 and then 5. So let's get a little correction in here for the price of Theta. It could also turn into an A, B, C, right? We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We have a lot of 1, 2s in here. So this could turn into a 3, 4, and maybe we're heading up quickly. There's the small time frames are tricky because there's a lot of different ways it could happen. But the overall objective is continuation up. But that doesn't mean we can't correct big time and come all the way back down to back test this area right in here. Actually, or I should say retest, right? So if I put a Fibbo from here all the way to the top of here, we can get a retracement of somewhere between 170 and 158. So maybe a 618 retrace. Everybody's heard of that. 618 retrace, or even a 50%. So I like to say if it's going to correct. So if you take this whole wave right here and just cut it in half, that's usually sort of where it comes down to, and then it goes. You can start to see it's reversing. So it could be a quick reversal, or it could be a 618 reversal, or it could come all the way back down to back test this area. And if it does that, that's just a buying opportunity, you know? So that's me for Theta on the short term. I know people are going to want to have timestamps and things like that. I honestly don't really know how to do all that stuff. I mean, I'm sure I can figure it out, but I just don't really have much time. If somebody wants to do me a favor and drop it in the comment section of you know, the different timestamps. I mean, if I have time later today, I'll do it. I actually recorded a video. I got to about 40 minutes long, and I stopped it. But when I stopped it, the video got corrupted, and I couldn't I couldn't use it. So I'm starting over again, which isn't that fun, but it is what it is. Okay, let's look at Solana. I mean, they all look the same, right? They all have this up move, this down move, and this range. Some of them are broken out of the range. Some of them are still in the range. If they're broken out of the range, I wouldn't buy it. If they're still in the range, it looks pretty good. So Solana broke out of the range. And where did it go? It went to this point here. It's usually where they go, to this point here. So if I pull the Fibbo, it's still not even close. Well, it actually is getting closer, but you know, you still want to get to that 50 to $131. So, again, is this going to be a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout? Is it going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C, then continue on for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Right? A couple different ways it could happen. Don't know yet until we get more ideas with other charts. and Bitcoin. ADA looks very interesting. It's right at the resistance. This thing could probably break out today or sometime this week. Let me actually go to the weekly. I'll put it right there. Yeah, it is above. It is technically above it. So, drawing a range, we have a beautiful range, a Wyckoff, a accumulation, a spring, back test, almost a back test of the bull market support band, and now a continuation. So where do I think it's going? I think it's going somewhere up there. But first, it's probably going to stop somewhere around here. Somewhere in this zone in here. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, they all are pretty much the same. So if you have your chart, if I didn't look at your coin, just look at the chart. It's probably has this bull move, has this bear move, and it has this range. The big thing is your candle up here or are they down here? So regardless, they're all pretty much the same. But if you look at something like Casper, it looks pretty different, right? It looks a lot different, right? It doesn't have a lot of data. Now look at the wick on this thing. It was all the way at $30. It's sitting at 3 cents. Can you imagine this thing going just back to the all-time high? That's 70,000%. Now, do I think it's ever going to happen? Maybe. I have no idea. But I think it at least can get back to its all-time high, or at least back to this close here, which is a good 1,400% move. But yeah, Casper is one of my smaller cap gems. If you want to know more about Casper, just go to Kevin Cage YouTube channel. Type in Casper, Kevin Cage. He has really good videos. Just scroll through his videos. Look at the fundamentals. But for me, it's sort of a Hail Mary. Not a lot of data. But one thing is for sure, we do have a range. We do have a range in here. It's not that nice looking, but it's not that bad either. You have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sort of this diagonal A, B, C. It's a little difficult to read, but it doesn't have that Wyckoff look to it. But it is attempting to get back above the bull market support band, which is good. So we'll see if that occurs. It's actually doing it now. So yeah, I think this is just, to put it simple, this is one wave. This is 2 waves. So what do you think happens next? Probably like this. Something like that. IOTA. Let's see. So IOTA has that rise. It's been around a while, but it's a lot lower than XRP. XRP is sitting up here. So it's a little more bullish, but it has that rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. It wants to rip, right? So looking at IOTA, we are in this range here, but we haven't broken the range, right? So we do have a Wyckoff look. We have a break above the bull market support band. We have a back test, and we have continuation. Now, that continuation can turn into something like this. A, B, C, then go, right? A, B, C, then go, or we continue to go. So we'll see how that works. But I'm still thinking higher for IOTA. Now, all these coins that are signaling higher doesn't mean they all have to go higher. Some of them do, some of them don't, right? And that really goes down to popularity, what people are interested in. Always look at the developers, right? If you have an old coin like IOTA, do you still have a lot of developers on it? I think it'll be a winner. Now, Zcash, I don't know anybody who's really super enthralled about Zcash. It does look like a nice looking correction here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it looks like a nice correction, and you're starting to round out. I mean, you're all the way down to the C19 low, for goodness sake. So it looks like an AB, something like that. So to me, it looks like it wants to break out at least a little bit. Gold, gold. You know what they say? He who has the gold makes all the rules. Central banks fight about things. It's all about the gold. At the end of the day, the whole world moves around money, but the ultimate money is gold, at least for banks. So what I like about gold is, if I zoom out, we sort of had a rise, crash, retrace, small retrace, but I don't even call it that. What I call it is a base right here. So doesn't that look just like Theta and all the others, right? So you had this up move, right? You had this up move, you had this down move, you went into a base, and then what happened? You broke above the base. And where did you go? You broke above the all-time high. And then what did you do? And then you continue to go sideways, right? You're consolidating at the all-time high. But look at what it's doing in the all-time high. It looks like it's developing a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. It looks like an inverse head and shoulders. There's your shoulder, there's your head, there's your shoulder, there's your neckline. It looks like this thing's going to break out. And then look at this. You broke above the bull market support band. You back tested it once, and you're back testing it again, right? This is the weekly chart. I don't like gold because it moves so slow. I mean, you have gray hairs by the time this thing goes, right? So, but you do have this bull flag here. Back test bull market support band. Zoom out even further. Inverse head and shoulders. Zoom out even further, right? You're playing around that all-time high. So, looks like it's going to go higher, especially the way China and Russia buying records amounts of gold. So we'll see. Algorand. Now, Algorand doesn't really have a base, but it does have sort of this slanting inverse head and shoulders, but it also has a break above the bull market support band and a back test. So again, this could turn into an A, B, C, right? And I don't really like it that much because usually, so if I had to guess what Algorand's going to do, and I'm pretty certain of this guess, 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have this impulse up. Usually when that happens, you have a sharp move down. You have a sharp move up. Usually what happens is you wane out like this. And then you go. So it looks like you're going to get something like that. But we might get lucky and continue at a sooner pace. Tron looks bullish. I mean, it's basically almost, look how nice it looks. It looks like a perfect cup and handle. You have a cup and you have a handle. Tron never broke into an all-time high, but it had a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. It looks like it's going to break out into a new all-time high. It's slowly creeping higher. So keeping your eye out for Tron. Doesn't mean it has to, buy now, but Dogecoin, same thing. It has a base that it developed, waiting for it to break that base, We broke above the bull market support band. We back tested it. Maybe a continuation. Look at Pepe. And what did I say about Pepe in the last rapid fire? I said it looked bullish. Why? Because you have this sort of inverse head and shoulders type of thing here. And yeah, it looks like it wants to break out. I had a little bit of Pepe just for fun. I think I got it somewhere around here. Because I saw this impulse, A, B, C, a three-way pullback. Got it somewhere around here, right? It was brand new. Not a lot of room, right? A lot of hype around it. So we'll see if it we'll see if it does a doge or pulls a shib. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of money. Just a little playing around, right? That's not too bad. I definitely wouldn't put serious money behind it. Absolutely not. This one I missed out on, SEI. I saw it come out on an exchange and I wish I bought it. It was like right down in here, and man, I have no idea what to say about that. Looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I wouldn't touch it. API 3. Again, you have a range. You broke out. Probably back test it, continuation, but I wouldn't buy it. Bitcoin Cash. B trash, they call it Bitcoin trash. I don't even understand the point of Bitcoin Cash. It was just, I get it's a fork, but what's the point of it? It doesn't make sense. I mean, it does look bullish because it is a fork of Bitcoin, right? And it has a lot of track history. It has a base. It broke out, and it's holding the bull market support band. So it could come back up and take this high out, which is about 750. BNB. Broke that line there. It was looking like a descending triangle. It looked bearish, right? But it actually broke to the upside. So interesting. If I pull the retracement on it, where do I think it's going? Probably somewhere around the 50, around $500, somewhere around there. Looks about. We just have to wait, see what Bitcoin is doing. Internet computer. What an odd name for a coin. ICP. Yeah, it looks bullish. Looks exactly the same, right? We have this range, right? You have this Wyckoff. You have the spring. You have this impulse. The cool thing about this is it impulsed out of the range, which is pretty bullish, and it is still yet to backtest the bull market support band. I guess it did down in here. Just about, yeah. So, yeah, to me it looks like this here. Basically, basically, here's what to take from it. If your coin, whatever coin that you're holding, if it has broken out of the range, then it's probably doing something like this. If it's super far away from these 2 points, then it's probably already on its way towards retracement. If it's an early one, kind of like Theta, or even a little later than that, internet computer, just a weird name, we have some sort of consolidation, some chop. So basically you see the chop there, then eventually maybe we hit the bull market support band, then continue higher, right, until we get to those retracement levels. What are those retracement levels? It's very hard to know because there's not a lot of data on it unless it's on another exchange. But if I had to guess, I would say somewhere in this region. We'll see. So people want to know targets. Well, that's the thing. Are you talking targets for Theta and a new all-time high? Or are you talking targets for the retracement? So that's up to you. That's up to your strategy on how you want to do it. Some people like to take profits in a retracement. The only thing I would say is it's a little risky because let's say that Theta goes into a retracement, right? Which I believe and have believed for a long time. And let's say we're at the 618, which is approximately $9.73 around there. And you go, okay, we hit a retrace, I'm taking profit. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. Taking profit is what you should do. But the sort of the risky part of doing that, taking profit in a retracement zone, is let's say that you took profit here. When do you get back in? That's the big thing you got to think about. Do you get back in when we pull back? But how far, right? Because if you sell at, say you sell at $10, do you wait for something like $6? Do you wait for $8? Right? What if it doesn't come? What if you sell at $10, right? And it just stays around 950, 960, maybe goes to 11, bounces back and forth. Is that significant enough for you to re-enter? And then all of a sudden, bam, it breaks out above $12. Now you're like panicking, man, why did I sell it? So you got to be cautious of that. Now, for me, I like to use different trades for different things. So, like, let's say you have a bag of Theta, or let's say, better yet, you have 3 bags of Theta. So you have 1 bag for your HODL position. You have 1 bag for your trading position, right? And then you have another bag for whatever, maybe staking or whatever. So we'll just say 2 bags, 1 for trading, 1 for hodling. So, or if you have 2 bags for trading, you can then trade a small percentage when you get to the retracement levels, because it's all about what time frame you're trading is what time frame your targets should be. So if you're talking all-time high targets, then I guess the first target would be $25 on linear scale, which is a $10 increase from $15, which approximately is about 57% above its all-time high. Now, I think it has much more potential than that, but it's all about the strategy you come up with, and there's no right or wrong way. It's just what you feel comfortable with. I guess I could do a video in the future of how you would do it in different ways you can do it. So like one way you can do it is sell 10% here, another 10% here, another 10% here, another 10% here, right? Or you can say, I'm going to sell, when we hit the 1618, I'm going to hit 10%. Then when we hit the 2618, I'm going to hit 20%, sell 20%. When we hit the 3.272, I'm going to sell, 40 or 45%, right? So there's different ways, you can do it. But the targets are right here for linear scale. Now, log scale is going to be a lot bigger and a lot more, I would say, bold in its way. But I would guess for me, there's nothing wrong with taking profit at $25, $35, $40, $50, $52, and then a full 4.23 extension is about $64, $65, right? So sometimes you don't necessarily want to wait for that exact tippy top. Maybe you sell it at $60, right? Because if, let's say, you're waiting for 65, it never happens, it never comes, then what? you missed it by $5 and now it's back down to 50. So I can't give financial advice. I don't know the right answer on when to sell. I just know, hey, we're at a Fibonacci level. It's an important level. And then also, here's the thing: we're speculating on these Fibonacci targets, but we don't know what the structure looks like, right? So a lot of my targets are based on what the structure looks like. So for example, if the price of Theta has a 1 2 1 2, and then we go 3 4 5 4 5, and let's say we're sitting at $45 with divergence between the fourth and the fifth, and the fourth and the fifth here. So we have 1 2 3, or 1 2 1 2 3 4, right? 5 4 5. So we, if we have divergence here and we're sitting at $40, but we haven't hit that $50 Fibonacci, I'm going to take profit simply because we have 5 waves, we have divergence, maybe we have TD sequential up here. So when people say targets, when they throw targets out on X or Twitter or whatever, it's really hard to know, because usually people get their targets from either a Fibonacci or a measured move. But I don't like to give my targets other than, Fibonacci, right? You know the Fibonacci targets. But as far as a very accurate, precise target, I would have to wait to see what the structure looks like, because it could look like that, or let's say it looks like this, where you have a 1 2 3 4 5, and then you sort of go back down like this, ABC, or rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. Then you come back up here, right, into a fifth wave, or I'm sorry, into a third wave, like this, right? And now we're sitting at $45. It's the same price as before, but I probably wouldn't sell it simply because you have a 1 2 3, and now we get 4, and then we come back up for 5. Maybe we hit that $65 mark, right? Obviously, you would want to take some profit. And you take some profit on the way, buy the dip. Take profit on the way, buy the dip. And then, at the end of the bull market, you would have wanted to sell between 60 and 80% of what you hold. Especially if you have 5 waves. If you have 5 waves and you have divergence between the fourth and the fifth, and you hit the 4.236 extension, and you're on a TD sequential 9, those are all indicators like, hey, this is a perfect chance, right? Then you come back down, ABC, right? Go back into this base right here, back test the base, and then go for another bull run, right? So it really depends how the structure on the way up looks. Not a lot of people talk about that. People on YouTube, they'll talk about targets, and some of them are perfect because you have structure. But for me, I want to wait until, number one, what happens up in the retracement level, and number two, what does it look like? What does the structure look like upon breaking all-time highs? Because it could look totally different than what we're thinking. And based how it looks will be based off what my targets will be. So hopefully that helps people, when people ask for targets. So, targets vary. If you're in an F-16 and you're in a dogfight with another fighter plane, and you locked your target, your target's the same, but your target can also move around. Right? It's going to move around. But the important thing is to get a direct hit. So, as long as you make money and you're happy with it, and that's the thing, when people sell, most people are not happy with it, right? They always want a little more. And that's just human nature. That's our psychology. We are greedy human beings, and don't be ashamed of it. You know, greed is but a word the jealous inflict upon the ambitious. Always know that, right? There's a difference between being a greedy pig and being inherently greedy, right? So, it's just in our nature. But when you sell, you want to be happy with it, because selling shouldn't feel good. Just like, for example, when the price is coming down here, and let's say you buy here, it doesn't feel good. Just like when you sell way, way, way up here at a high price, it probably won't feel good. So, when people buy at the low, low, low price, like I said, it's not supposed to feel good, right? Like, for example, see how Theta pumped up now? Look how high it pumped up. It feels good, right? It feels great. We broke out. I'm going to buy. It feels good, but it's not supposed to, right? Because if you have a big breakout, like let's say you break out here, all the way up here, and you buy, yeah, it continues to go up. It feels even better. But what's even better is to buy when you're going flat, especially down here, right? It's at the bottom of the barrel, and then we go even lower. You buy it. It doesn't feel good because everything in your gut is saying don't do it, because it feels like the narrative, the sentiment, everybody's bearish. It doesn't feel good, right? But you do it anyway, and then you get rewarded. So then when you get back to the top, I mean, comment below if you sold the tippy top of Theta. I mean, it's pretty difficult to do that. And if you do, right, then that's great. That's what we want. We want everybody to succeed and make money, because most people are either holding their current position or they're recovering from a loss. So, when you get to these high prices, are you going to be satisfied with that number? Because you have it all worked out, right? You go, I got this X amount of Theta. Let's say you got, I don't know, 50,000 Theta, 20,000 Theta, right? And you got it worked out in your head. Okay, when we hit $50, I'm going to sell 30%. And that's going to give me X amount of dollars, and I'm going to be happy with that. But then once that day comes and you get that number that you want, the greed inside your veins is going to be like, well, wait a minute. I don't feel like selling because I feel I can go a little more, and that's what kind of gets you in trouble. So you got to have a plan, right? But it's okay to feel greed. Greed is good. Greed, you don't want to be overly greedy, but greed is good. Without greed, you don't have ambition, right? That's why everybody in crypto has a sense of greed. We all have greed. We all have fear. The trick is to know how to manage that type of emotion, right? So if you have X amount of coins and you're selling it at X amount of dollars, and that means you're going to get X amount of return, and you're happy with that today because Theta's at 190 or $2, but are you going to be happy with that when the day comes? And I've noticed that with myself, like when certain coins are hitting this area and I go, okay, I'm going to sell at this point. And when it happens, one time, one or two times, I didn't do it. I didn't sell. I got exactly what I wanted, but I held on to the trade. And yes, it did go a little higher, and I go, see, if I would have sold it, would have did it. And then I still didn't sell, and then it tanked. And I'm like, man, if I would have just, sell it, it would have been perfect. For example, if the price comes up here, right, just drawing squigglies, it doesn't matter. If the price is up here and you sell, it comes down, you feel great, but then it breaks out just a little bit, you still have to feel good about it. Even though it broke out a little bit, it's fine, right? If the price gets away, then yeah, you timed it wrong. But what you don't want to do is chase this last thing, because that's what usually happens. You have a 1, 2, 3. The third wave gets everybody bullish. They buy in. What happens? you pull back for a fourth wave. They sell it, then the price goes back up, then they chase the markup, it goes up a little higher, and then it falls down. So 1, 2, 3 times they got wrong-footed. The best thing to do is look for the base and stay planted. That way, whatever happens up here happens. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to do my channel. The time that I did it was because, I probably would have done it a little sooner. But looking back, I didn't want people to get wrong-footed, because a lot of people, not saying you, but a lot of people were bearish in here, thinking we got to go down. But identifying this base in here tells me, what is the point of the price building all of this support only to then break down? It doesn't make sense. It builds support to break out because you want a counter wave against this move. So that counter wave can turn into an all-time high. It can turn into another counter wave, and we can go in A, B, C. I don't think that's going to happen, but keep your head on a swivel. It's crypto. Anything can happen. So wow, I think this is a new world record for how long I've done videos. But I think it's an important moment in history for my portfolio, for your portfolio. I would try to get some timestamps on there. If somebody wants to do it, that would be amazing if you could. Trying to maybe look for some moderators if I decide at one point to go live, and maybe do a live series, and then you can answer questions on a live feed. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear and keep going. But for now, the price of Theta, we tapped into this $2, and what was the top of it? It was right here. So if I take this wick right there and look where it came to exactly the bottom of these wicks right here, which is about $2.30. So that was one of the things that I mentioned. So somewhere in between this zone. So we get this zone. So once we break that zone, then we're looking at a new zone, which is up here. So we got some work to do. But you got to give it some breathing room. It just broke out, right? So it's not going to go up in a straight line. Obviously it could. But the faster it goes, the more of a pullback it needs later. So for me, I'm like 1, 2, let's come back down and have another 1, 2 and back test 166. I would like for the candle to close, this weekly candle to close above 166, and then the following candle we can back test 166, and then the following candle after that a continuation. That would be the ideal circumstance. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see. When you look at total 3, it's getting a little overextended. You have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is part of a 1, 2, 3. I think a big correction is coming soon for Bitcoin and for the altcoins. But if your coin, it really depends where it's at. If it's breaking above the range, it's probably going to consolidate above the range. If it's still in the range, I think it has still a good chance of breaking out of the range before that correction happens. Because like if you look at Theta Fuel, if you look at Theta Fuel, we have not broken out yet. So when we do break out, I think we're going to play around in here, right, before coming out. Now, if that correction happens further, maybe we come up here, we have another ABC before we break out. But I think eventually it's coming. So I can't give too much information. I want to see how the price continues to develop. But It seems like when price moves fast, people want more. It's like a drug. It's the strongest drug in the world, right? When you get a hit of that dopamine, when you get a hit of that rush of that green candle, it's like heroin. It's like, oh my God, you gotta have it. So, but and then what happens? People want more. People want more, and then when it pulls back, they don't expect it, and then they get nervous, and then they go into withdrawal. But they don't realize, look what you succeeded. You accomplished so much. You accomplished a big breakout. You accomplished getting out of the range. So, that's why I'm bringing this channel also, is to keep people's psychological perspective in check and, take things one step at a time and not get too ahead of ourselves. But it is a good thing that we broke out. I want to see Theta fuel breakout next. So I think that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I didn't get too many. I think I scanned at the comments when I paused the video. I didn't get too many requests. If you have any coins you want me to look at during the next rapid fire, post them in the comment below. And also, if you want to help me with some timestamps, that would be also appreciative. Or at least give me a link of where I can do that, because I know you gotta go to the YouTube studio and mess with all that. I'm not real savvy in that. Maybe it's just because I'm lazy and I haven't tried. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.